So today I am talking to a prisoner on death row in San Quentin. Now, why do I do this? Well, as somebody in the field that I am in, I want to go to the source of things. I've always said, and the FBI behavioral unit started like this, by talking to serial killers and murderers about their crimes. And then you can start making correlations. You can start deducing things when you encounter another crime. So I've been talking to this death row inmate now for several months. And he's been on death row for over 30 years. And I want to get his take on these Idaho murders. Now, again, we don't have all the information, right? But getting that information is tough to do. But when it is leaked out and there is certain things that you can look at, I wanted to run it by someone who has actually committed the act of murder and see what their take is on it. But today I just wanted to give you a little snippet of what we talked about and what his thoughts are as it pertains to these Idaho 4 college students being murdered. So here we go. This is my conversation with death row inmate who is in San Quentin currently on murder charges on death row and has been there for many decades, and what his thoughts are on the Idaho murders.
This is Global Tel Link. You have a prepaid call from an inmate at the California State Prison, San Quentin, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Okay, Ken, I hope it's okay that I called back.
I don't think that you can tell that it's personal just based off of wounds, even if one has more stab wounds than the other. But let's say one of the victims was manipulated in one way or another. Let's say she had injuries, stab wounds to her vagina, or her breast was cut. Well then, yes, I think you can say, well, it looks like it's personal towards her. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Well, it's possible. It also depends on the killer himself. If the killer mutilated the sexual organs, it could be just that he has it could be a personal hatred, but more than likely it's a hatred towards the gender, the woman herself, or women in general. There's a case that's really famous that's come out, and it's Blackbird with Larry Hall. Larry Hall mutilated the young girls and women, and specifically he mutilated the sexual organs. It wasn't because he needed them personally, it's because his rage was towards the sex. It was towards the gender. So we would have to know more about the crime scene itself to know exactly who the killer is, what its motives are, and have more insights.
Yeah, I get appalled at people that say, well, it's personal. It's a personal attack because one has more stab wounds than the other. And I think that's asinine because, as you know, homicide is so fluid. Sometimes you encounter things, nothing goes as planned, whatever it is. And you can't just say, hey, this one had 27 stab wounds and the others only had 8. Therefore, she was targeted and it was personal towards her. I don't think you can make that leap. What do you think?
No, you can't, because as you said, if the person fought back,
yes,
that can inflame the killer or enrage him to stabbing a person more. The person could have fought back, or maybe the person was submissive and that upset the killer. We have to know more about the killer. When as crazy as this sounds, the victims are very important in this, but to analyze and really decipher who the killer is and what his motives are, we have to study the scene itself. Was the house broken into? Who who was there. And if we eliminate all other possible subjects, then we can look at the killer himself and look at his motives by what he's done. We have to look at the crime scene. I know that law enforcement hold back evidence purposely in order to really find out what's going on. But in this case, you and I would have to see more of the crime scene to really know what's happening, because they're not going to tell us. But because the first couple that was attacked, and we're assuming they were attacked first, the male and female in the bedroom, and then the killer went upstairs, nothing was taken that we can know. I'm not going to say that it was personal, because the killer could be personally involved only because he was hunting. Okay. The one question I had, I think it's an interesting question, is has this happened before? Is there any other murders within a 60-mile radius that are similar to this in some way?
Yeah, so there's two other things that happened. One was, and they say both are not related to this incident, but I don't know. One is there was a dog, like a little toy dog or something, that was skinned, and its fur and pelt was taken off, and it was filleted open. And that happened within a couple miles, 3 miles I want to say, of where this happened. I thought, okay, that right there is a problem. Number two, there was a murder of a older couple by knife that's unsolved, within 50 miles, I believe. Might have been 100. I don't know. I would be guessing, but that people have said that that it could be related.
There was no forced entry in those either, and it was all stab wounds, and they were both in bed at the same time?
That I don't know. I do believe they were in bed at the same time, and it happened around the same time at night, but I don't know about the entry.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Usually killers, when they begin to kill humans, they don't revert back to a lesser being, meaning a dog. They usually start off as dogs practicing their craft to figure out who they are. It's like feeling people out in the dark. Once they know who they are, meaning a serial killer or a killer, they don't revert back to animals to satisfy that hunger. The couple, that piques my interest.
Strangulation also is personal, you could say, just because, if the offender doesn't bring a weapon into the house, there's not always the plan, the premeditation to kill. If you bring a weapon, which this guy did, he brings a knife, and why not a gun? Well, maybe it's because he doesn't have access to a gun, or maybe because he knows a gun will raise red flags, people will hear it, who knows? But he chooses a knife, and I guess my biggest question is, then why does he do that?
Well, I think that you're right. If he's using a knife, there are only a couple possibilities. He's not familiar with guns, which that's a stress, because you can get a gun anywhere, and firing in a range and understanding how a gun works, not that big of a deal. But is he doing it in a residential area? A gun going off at 3 in the morning will raise people's attention. So he's coming with a knife, as you mentioned. He brought the knife. So if he brought the knife, he had every intention to kill. And if he had every intention to kill, that weapon of choice is one that he uses because it's the easiest access he has. Strangling someone to death is very difficult. And if there's 2 people there, 4 people there, that's very difficult to do while one person is sitting there. They're not going to wait there for you to strangle a person, then you jump on them.
Right.
But the knife is different. He probably went after the male first,
Yep.
and then, or hit them both at the same time. It's not very difficult to really leave someone incapacitated when you stab them once or twice and then go to the next person. That takes seconds.
Yep.
I believe that's what happened. That's probably why it happened again.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, and that's what I think. If you come in, if you encounter, let's say this guy's watching that house, and he knows that there are at least 3 good-looking girls in that house, and he has his eyes set on that house, and then he goes in and finds a male there who isn't supposed to be there. He doesn't live there. And that could have threw off his whole fantasy, the whole thing. and he took him out first and continued on. Hey, I already did this, so I'm going to finish through it. I'm going to kill the rest of the people that I came here to do. But I think the male probably threw him off a bit.
He could have, yes. But if he was watching the house, did the male live there?
No.
Okay, then I think you may be right. Yeah, you may be absolutely right. He did not expect the male to be there. He expected the woman to be there. And when he found the male, maybe he had intentions to sexually violate them or her. And when he found the male there, it upset him. He kills the male.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
He kills her because he's enraged now. He's upset that she was with somebody else. Sometimes serial killers have these fantasies that they believe the woman belongs to them, and the woman is going to belong. They have this fantasy of almost like a relationship with the person, especially if they're organized serial killers and they're stalking their victims. So that's an interesting theory there. And you know what? I think you're right on the right track there. And then he goes upstairs, finds two women in the bed together. He doesn't know what's going on.